stoked pretty good. Getting it warmed up in here. All right, man, good morning. We're gonna get started on this 58 today. Try to get these other spots fixed with this body filler. We went yesterday to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's early this morning. It is very cold, so we're gonna get a fire started first because this Bondo body filler, whatever words you use whatever you call it, but it does not like cold temperatures. It does not like the metal to be cold when you spread this stuff, so we got to get this shop heated up. All right, sun's starting to come up. Got this fire stoked pretty good. Getting it warmed up in here. Still not quite warm enough. We got to get this metal on this car kind of heated up so we can get that body filler to stick to that metal good. You want this stuff to be about 70 degrees. That body filler just doesn't stick well to cold steel. All right, while the shop's heating up, I'm gonna take this little grinder here and I'm gonna hit over some of these spots so we can put this body filler on there. And I know, it's like I said, it is very cold here in South Carolina, and I know they get the heavy ice storms, snowstorms up in New England area, and I hope you folks up there stay safe, stay warm. And so I can't imagine what y'all are going through because I know how cold it is here. But anyway, let's go ahead and grind this out. What I did was I put where all of these weld joints are, right there. What I take is I take a little bit of JB Weld, and I put that JB Weld in there, and all the way around where the weld seams are. A lot of people use fiberglass. I just found for me that, just to make sure there's no pinholes in there, I take a little bit of that JB Weld steel, mix it up and spread it on there. And now I'll grind off everything except for what's ever in the crack. So I'm gonna grind that out now so we can start spreading this body filler while the shop is still heating up. You just want to make sure you get all of this off the surface. Okay, what I was doing there was on these dings here, like in this door right here, where they were old, deep down in there was old body filler. You want to dig all of that out because when you wipe this new body filler on there, it has trouble sticking to this old body filler. You want to get all of that out of there so it will not turn loose down the road. So just dig all of that before you start spreading in this new body filler. That's a little bit hard to see, but I welded in a patch right here, and it is a little bit taller than this right here. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna tap this down before I wipe this, because I don't wanna build all of this out. I wanna just build this out to here. So the way I do that is I just take my hammer. It's kind of hard to hold this camera and do this, but kind of tap it in there. And this is on the front of the hood. Try to keep it flat. That's feeling better. All right, I got that a little bit lower there now, so that ought to work out pretty good. All right, again, like we did the other day, put some of this on the board. we'll take our, make sure this is mixed up good. Our hardener. We'll place it in there, like so. We'll kind of mix that in. Like I said, like I said the other day, you don't want to stir up as many air bubbles as possible, because what happens is you start spreading this stuff, you'll get little bubbles in the filler, and then you'll sand it, and you'll have pinholes, and you'll have to go back and fill the pinholes in. It just kind of helps if you try to create as least amount of air bubbles as possible, like so. So you want to get it all the same color. Kind of what you want it to look like right there. All right, we'll start right here on this patch, and I'll give me about so much on the board, about like that, and I'll just start. And you want to mash that in there really good, get a really good bond on it first time. Like I said, y'all, kind of like that. And this stuff is kind of messy. You just have to deal with it. It gets on your hands and it drips everywhere. But you just kind of swipe it up like this, pull, kind of put a little pressure to it. Work in all these edges. I did put a little bit over there. All right, this will set about 20, 30 minutes. It's kind of tacky. But we're gonna knock that rough edge off. So we're gonna use this 40 grit sandpaper here. Like I said, all you wanna do is just knock the rough edge off of it. All right, you see we got a little high place here and a little low place here. We're gonna knock that down, and then we're gonna re-wipe the whole thing. All right, we got the second wipe on it, and the spot's about right here, and I went on out a little further. This is kind of a tricky roll here. It's kind of a smooth wrap, and then it gets at a more of an angle right there, so I had to go a little bit wider with it. Then we got that wipe, but hey, look here. Got a special guest with us. Got my dad came in. Always glad to have him. Just glad to have him with us. All right, we're gonna sand this second coat off here and see how she looks. All right, I went ahead and wiped a coat of this putty on here. We're gonna knock over it here with some 80 grit and see if we can't get this all worked on in. Kind of take your hand and rub, see if you feel any imperfections. All right, that's kind of what we got. Got a good smooth finish here. Feels pretty good. No ripples, no bumps. Good thing is we know we cut the rust out and we got good steel behind there. All right, we're gonna take this glazing putty. We'll kind of mix it up a little bit here. Kind of hard to mix this stuff in this tube. We're not gonna need a whole lot of it, just a little bit in order to do it. Do this hardener the same way. Probably enough for that little bit. There again, you want to mix it till it's all an even color and get all those stripes out of it. This is called a glazing putty or icing. I think the actual name of it is icing, what I'm using here today, but a lot of people call it putty or glazing putty. It's all the same thing. And that's kind of what it is right there. That's what I'm using. Like I said, you want to mix this till it's all about the same color. No striping or anything in it. All right, we'll let that putty sit there now and kind of dry. Hopefully now that's going to be the last coat, and we're going to go over it here with this 80 grit. See if we can't tie all this in. All right, we got the rocker panel down here. It feels pretty good. Feels great. It looks like a spot, but it's not, just discoloration. But it's smooth all the way across. Got all of this here where I put that patch panel in this corner right there. All that looks good, feels good right in here. So hey, it's time to move on to another spot. We'll start working back here on the back side of this quarter panel down here at the bottom. If we can't get this smoothed up, there's some rock dings and stuff in there. What you want to do is just, like I said, just keep wiping this, pulling up smooth and even as you can. Make sure you apply, an adequate amount of pressure to it. You want that stuff to really stick to the steel. The last thing we want to happen is this stuff start coming back loose somewhere down the road. All these little spots I'm doing here is little dents and dings that I felt in my hand. I could feel them. Just kind of get all of these wiped. Don't want any dings or dents showing up. We get this thing primed. Wipe this back corner here. Make sure we get all of this smooth enough and even. I know this is painful watching me do all of this wiping and rubbing, but I just want to give a good representation of, what's really all involved in doing body work. A lot of people doesn't really understand, what's all involved in it. And I've been doing this a long time. It's just, some people are really great at it. Some people are mediocre. I'm kind of in between. Well, I'm getting a phone call. All right, everybody, we're gonna take this car down here and gonna get the front end lined on it. This Chevy Chevelle, he called me. We was working on that 58 and he called, so he said he had an opening, so I'm gonna take it down there this morning and get it lined up. First time I've actually got this thing out and test drove it, so we're gonna see what she does. This is a really good family that I've known for a long time. I've went to school with some of them, and it's a Seymour's Garage down here in Anderson. They've been doing front end work as long as I can remember. When I was a kid, his daddy was doing it, and then he took it up after his dad and continued the tradition and legacy. But they are fantastic when it comes to doing front end work, brake work, anything like that. So. I'm just glad that he was able to help me out on this. Man, she's running strong, running good. All right, we made it back. Got the car lined up, and man, it drove good, rode good. I'm real well pleased with it. He did a really fantastic job. So. We're gonna get back in here. This ought to be good and hard now, as long as we've been gone. Get this sanded off. This right here, the reason I wiped it, it wasn't bad. It just had some like rock dings where rocks just flew up and hit it and put these little dings. So I just wiped the whole thing and we'll cut it off and see what we got left. We'll make sure we get all the dents out of it. They're just small, like gravel dents is what they was. Anytime I got these really sharp corners here, I'll take my round block and get in there and get that so it don't have a square edge on it. I found that's just a good practice to have, no matter what you're saying. Just try to keep them going just straight like this and kind of, move it up. All right, let's work this corner in right here and we'll be done with this quarter panel, I'm hoping. You can kind of see what we got there. I pretty much got this quarter panel here pretty close to ready for primer. All the dents I've seen. Now I'll go back over it again and make sure I didn't miss anything. All of this here is really, really good. All the dents, there was small dents in here. So I think that's the whole quarter panel done. And we'll move on to the door and the fender. Anyway, that's probably gonna do it for this episode. It's time consuming. I know this is probably boring watching me spread this body filler on here and sand it back off. And the reason I do that, I just want to give people an idea what it's really like to go through this process from one end to the other. And so I put everything in there. And I try to cut as much of it out as I can, to keep it kind of interesting, but at the same time, I do want to give everybody a good idea of what's all involved in doing this body work and painting and restoring a car. But let me tell you something. I want to thank everybody for watching, especially to the end. Thank everybody who subscribed and hit the like button and sharing these videos. It means a great deal to us. If you're a newcomer, welcome, and we hope you subscribe and hit that like button. Hey, and until next time, Y'all be careful out there, would you?